What is up, you guys? It's Dominic Flores back with you guys here today to do the top 10 Dana Bryan WWE matches so far. So, yeah, back to you guys with another list. I know you guys enjoy the list. As you can see, Chris Jericho uh, with the list, but this is my list, and Dana Bryan, you just made my list. So, if you haven't heard, Dana Bryan is able to compete in WWE again. So, I thought I'd do the top 10 Dana Bryan WWE matches so far. Number 10 is going to be the Money in the Bank ladder match in 2011. This was a SmackDown one, and it featured Kane versus Sin Cara versus Daniel Bryan versus Wade Barrett versus Cody Rhodes versus Heath Slater versus Justin Gabriel versus Sheamus. So, yeah, this was just an amazing and fun and brutal match at some points. Um, and so as you can see, there's some brutal spots. Sheamus putting Sin Cara through a ladder. Kane doing a not a choke slam, a clothesline to Daniel Bryan off of Sheamus' shoulder. Kane choke slamming Sheamus onto a ladder. I bet that hurt. And Justin Gabriel standing on a ladder on the top rope doing a 450 onto Kane. But at the end, Daniel Bryan would win the Money in the Bank briefcase, just setting him up for a future opportunity at the World Heavyweight title. Number 9 is going to be Daniel Bryan and Kane and Undertaker versus The Shield. This was a Raw match. Raw was in the UK when this match happened. And yeah, it started out with the brawl, and then Kane, Daniel Bryan, and Undertaker would stand tall, but not for long. As you can see, Taker hitting old school on Dean Ambrose, and Taker would go for a double choke slam, but Roman Reigns would spear the Undertaker out of nowhere. The match ended with, I believe it was Dean Ambrose rolling up Daniel Bryan. So yeah, did not win that match, but it was still a good match. Number 8 is going to Daniel Bryan, Kane, and Ryback versus The Shield in The Shield's debut match at TLC. This was a brutal match. Fun match. Yeah, it was just brutal. The Shield's debut match again. So, yeah, some of Daniel Bryan's selling was amazing in this. So was Kane and Ryback's. There was a suplex from Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins to Daniel Bryan standing on a table on the top rope. There was also Roman Reigns spearing Kane through the barricade. That was cool. And then the Shield power bombing Ryback, just like they did through the table, just like they did in their debut match. But yeah, Daniel Bryan would try to win, but the Shield would ultimately end up winning with a roll up from. Wait, I don't think it was a roll up, but the Shield would end up winning. Number 7 is going to Daniel Bryan versus Cesaro. So this was actually part of a gauntlet match, and Daniel Bryan had already beat Jack Swagger before, and this is when they were the Real Americans, so they were together at ringside for both matches. And if you guys like technical matches, definitely check this one out. I kind of enjoyed this one. Not my favorite match of all time, but again, this was good enough to make it onto the list. So yeah, this was a really good match. Check it out. Daniel Bryan would also go on to defeat Ryback via disqualification and win the gauntlet match. Number 6 is going to Randy Orton versus Daniel Bryan in a street fight on Monday Night Raw. Voted for by the WWE Universe and the WWE.com poll. And they voted for it to be a street fight, and it went everywhere. It was a brutal match. My favorite spot of the match was probably when Daniel Bryan kept drop kicking Randy Orton, trying to put him through the table at ringside, but he could not. So eventually he just power bombed Randy through the table. But there was a couple of cool spots in this match. I don't know, it was just brutal. Daniel Bryan just kept assaulting Randy Orton with the kendo stick, and it was cool. Daniel Bryan would try to get a win with a regular yes lock, but it would take him using a kendo stick to defeat Randy Orton. Number 5 is going to Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus at Extreme Rules in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the World Heavyweight Championship match. Now, in this list, not all these matches Daniel Bryan wins, but he sold amazingly in this match and the other matches that he didn't win, and that's why he's on this list. This wasn't a really technical match, but yeah, it was Daniel Bryan somehow made it on his end. The first fall would go to Sheamus via disqualification. Daniel Bryan would not stop stomping on Sheamus, and then he'd put the label lock in, and win the second fall, but Sheamus would end up winning their WrestleMania 28 rematch with a bro kick, retaining his title to get the last fall. Number 4 is going to CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan at Over the Limit 2012 for the WWE Championship match. If you guys like the indies, if you guys like technical matches, and you have the network, check this out for sure. This match was pretty good. The only thing I didn't like about it was the ending, but I'll get to how that went down in a second. Yeah, back and forth match, guys. They described it. People were describing it versus the King of the Indies facing each other. But again, the ending was Daniel Bryan got rolled up by CM Punk. But it was a cool roll up thing. But CM Punk going to retain his title. Number 3 is going to Daniel Bryan versus Triple H at WrestleMania 30. Winner would go to the main event of WrestleMania to face Randy Orton versus Randy Orton and Batista. This match was amazing. Daniel Bryan hit a tornado DDT to the outside to Triple H. He would go right back up to the top and hit a standing senton to Triple H to the outside. Triple H would actually put a crossface on Daniel Bryan, his own version of the Yes Lock. Daniel Bryan would suplex the way bigger Triple H. Triple H had the size advantage. It was not superhero. It was strength versus quickness in this match. At some points, when Triple H hit that pedigree, I thought it might have been over. But no, Daniel Bryan was able to win. But he would get attacked at the end of the match. I switched those pictures around. But he would get attacked at the end of the match. Number 2 is going to Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton versus Batista for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match in the main event of WrestleMania 30. This match wasn't the greatest match, but it was the greatest story in the past 10 years that we have seen in WWE. Daniel Bryan's comeback story. The unlikely winner winning at WrestleMania. There was a cool spot where Daniel Bryan hit a diving cross body or whatever to the outside to All the Authority. Also, he would hit Triple H with his own sledgehammer. Yeah, the Authority would try and interfere, and I thought it might have worked. There was a cool spot as well where Randy Orton hit a RKO into a Batista did a Batista bomb into an RKO and broke the table. And then they would actually have to fight for a little bit by themselves because Daniel Bryan was getting stretchered out. But he did not want to be stretchered out. He got up and said no. And then he would come back and make Batista tap out at WrestleMania. One of the greatest stories. That might have been one of the greatest stories, but not Daniel Bryan's greatest matches. His greatest match of all time is number 1, John Cena versus Daniel Bryan with special guest referee Triple H for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. This match was an amazing match, back and forth match. Great selling by both guys. I like the spot where Daniel Bryan got clothesline. He did like 3 flips in the air. It was amazing. It was really superhero versus underdog. Daniel Bryan was the superhero here. He would eventually get the win. But if you haven't noticed, I hate to rain on your parade, or if you haven't heard or didn't watch back then, Randy Orton would eventually cash in his Money in the Bank because Triple H would turn on Daniel Bryan. But he broke out the knee for the first time we had seen. So, yeah, those were, if you guys are excited, make sure, for Daniel Bryan's return, make sure to give it a like. Can't wait to see him in action. Did I forget any matches? Leave it down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Wrestling Mean at the Dominators Toy Show. As always, thank you guys for watching. D-Flow out. Hey guys, liked what you saw? Check out my previous video right here. And if you want to check out more videos and subscribe to my channel, click right here. Thank you guys for watching. D-Flow